Let's get straight into the whole Donald Trump thing. Will he still win the American election? Last night, the former president was found guilty on all charges in the hush money case in a history-making trial. So he's the first former US president with a criminal conviction and the first major party candidate to run for the White House as a convict. We've got loads of front pages here in the UK to show you. So there's the Telegraph, Trump guilty. The Star's gone funny on it. They say because of his orange skin, you've been tangled. The Mirror, again, he looks exhausted by the whole thing. I'm sure he didn't want this, even though he's tried to turn it to his advantage. The Times, also, they don't often use that sort of font and just have one story on the front page. It's a very big story, this, because he might yet become president. Trump found guilty in hush money trial. And it's made headlines, of course, in the USA as well. So I'm going to show you one in particular, which is really interesting. First of all, New York Times, guilty, 34 counts. This is the one I think is fascinating. New York Post has always been a bit of a Trump-backing paper, and they call it injustice. And there'll be a lot of his fans who say that. Washington Times says guilty on all counts. And the interesting one about the Washington Post here is it has all 34 counts. And last night I stayed up late, watched the whole thing. And I thought, surely the jury's going to do a not guilty on one count. But no, absolutely a whitewash for Trump last night as the case ended, and he reacted to the verdict.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now.
Oh, he's crossed there. But can he? What is the phrase? Kick against the pricks. Can he do that?
Well, I think that might have been the thing that got him in trouble in the first place. I think that this is the best possible thing that could have happened to Donald Trump's re-election chances, without a doubt.
The best?
Yes, without a doubt. This is the most brilliant narrative now for Donald Trump. And because now his whole shtick is, I am fighting against the establishment. I am fighting for you, the American worker. I am fighting against all of this corruption in the establishment. And now, look, I'm a victim of that too. And by the way, I'm on every single front page, right, left and centre. And also, so I just wonder whether the people who brought this, the people who are his detractors that brought these charges and really pushed for this, I wonder if they've actually thought about this outcome, because I don't care, really, that he paid.
Yeah, it's a very relatively minor crime, I think. Maybe you disagree with that, Ava, would you?
Well, no, I would agree with it, because I think that you could argue that this is a technicality, whereas there are other allegations against him of sexual misconduct, which I think would have had much more of a punch.
But he's already been found guilty in a civil trial of raping someone. Well, and he's walked away from that.
Exactly, but again, that's a civil trial, isn't it? So
yes,
what you want to see is sort of a federal prosecutor actually define him as that character. But look, what I'm concerned about, because I agree with Christos, I think this is going to be very helpful for him. I think, the way that news works in America, because it's very commercialised, every broadcaster is going to have him on now for 24/7. He's going to have free rein to say whatever he likes. He's going to be able to speak directly into American people's homes. The concern that I have is how riled up the American public are going to get over this. And I think this could actually be incredibly dangerous. I think you could see something similar to the Capitol Hill riots if he progresses on to stand as president.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
But the thing is, that's to do with his base, which is, let's say, 15% of voters who are, going to wear these shaman outfits or whatever and, wear a hat they've killed. I mean, that's a small number of people, isn't it, Christo? The hardliners.
It is, but I think that his talent is to fire those people up. I agree that this is what is going to fire those people. And again, the way I think he conducted himself around the election and not accepting the result and saying it was all different. I think that was actually a horrific way for him to act. You're quite right. The civil case that was against him that he was found guilty of, if none of that can bring him down, this is going to get him re-elected.
I suppose, well, it's so interesting you say it. We'd love your thoughts on whether Cristo is right, that this actually may benefit him. I mean, you know, we were all sitting watching closely. We're listening to what he says. When he says this judge is conflicted, he's corrupt, you know, all that stuff. However, you know, he compared himself to Mother Teresa yesterday. However much rubbish it is, you do listen, don't you? You do listen.
It must be very odd for the proper Republican base, who you could sort of compare to maybe the sort of One Nation conservatives that we have here. You know, these are churchgoers. These are people who really are quite by the book. Seeing this man up representing the Republican Party, you wonder if there's a lot of America who are just so reviled and repulsed by him.
They had Nikki Haley to try and run from the other side of the party, and she just got sort of torched. The US Constitution won't stop him running if he's in jail. Weirdly, you can't. If you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can't run because he was born in Austria, but you might be able to run from jail. I don't think he'll be jailed for this. The experts in the States suggest it's not a big enough crime, but even so,
What they do have the bars on the window in the West Wing.
Well,
you know, keep him in there.
It would be so good for him if they jailed him.
Again,
if I was the judge, look, he's been so. The other thing I don't get about their system is why you're allowed to insult the judge, because that, to me, part of the framework of justice is we don't insult the judge if we don't like the verdict.
But also, a lot of people think that part of the injustice, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he's sort of been gagged throughout the trial, which here is just really normal. You don't go on the TV and talk about what's going on in the trial because there is the due process there. That doesn't happen. So that's all fed into this idea that there is some sort of establishment conspiracy against him.
He was arguing about the jurors, wasn't he? He was saying there's no way to have a fair juror because they know too much, they're seeing too much on the television. Yeah. Well, that's why you'd be gagged, Donald, so that you can't influence the jury.
OK, we'll take a break. We'll talk. We'd love your views, and it's really just whether you think this makes it now inevitable he will become president, or is it going to stop him because everyone's going to shout guilty at him. But we're talking about whether Donald Trump is going to win the US election despite the conviction, or maybe weirdly because of it. We should talk a bit more about the woman at the centre of it actually as well. So using AI, which we like to do, I shall type in Stormy Daniels just so we can see, and bearing in mind she's always described as a porn star, so AI is going to do that thing and give us Stormy Daniels, the porn star here. So we'll just take one of these. Let's take that photo there. Actually, that's not how she looks now at all. She's been through it with this trial. That's Stormy Daniels today. It's been an exhausting thing for her. Let's ask what the case was about so we understand why she's been through it. And the first thing is 2006. This is when Trump meets Stormy Daniels. That's uncontested. Celebrity golf tournament. He's the presenter of The Apprentice. He's not in politics. She says he invited her to dinner. She went to his hotel room and he sort of just ended up having sex with her. It was consensual, but she wasn't expecting it. Let's put it like that. That is the picture of the two of them from then. Why is it a problem? Why is it a problem? Because you are not allowed to use election campaign money to pay a porn star not to tell everyone she had sex with you. That's kind of a rule in the States. It's a law. So let's go through the timeline and see how this happened. National Enquirer, tabloid magazine, David Pecker, the owner, close with Trump. He says, I'm going to be the eyes and ears for you, Donnie. He's going to make sure no embarrassing stories get in his magazine. Pecker pays one woman $150,000. They then have the Access Hollywood tape where Trump is recorded saying very salacious things. Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, does a deal with Stormy Daniels because he wants her to stay silent. They're worried about her. Crucially, he sends the invoice to Trump. 11 monthly invoices are paid. The Wall Street Journal says Trump's paid Stormy Daniels hush money payment, breaking the law. Cohen says it wasn't Trump, it was me. Cohen becomes the fall guy. Cohen goes to court. Cohen is found guilty. Cohen changes his story. He said, actually, Trump paid me back. That's what lands him in court. That's why he gets indicted. That's why he gets convicted. Because he paid hush money to somebody to stop them speaking, and they hid it in their campaign finances. So joining us now is Greg Swenson from Republicans Overseas UK. You'd assume it was game over for Donald Trump, Greg.
Yeah, I think if you'd asked me a year or two ago, I would agree with that, but I just don't think that's the case. I think the voters are in many ways seeing through this case for, essentially the weaponization of the justice system. This is not a good moment for the American justice system or for the country in general, but I don't think it hurts President Trump as much as it would hurt anybody else. Or if this was a more legitimate indictment and legitimate trial, I think it would hurt him, but voters are seeing through it.
So okay, people genuinely believe when Trump says this is Biden. He claims Biden doesn't even know his own name, but he's managed to organize this criminal trial.
Yeah, I'm not sure Biden organized it, but he surely supported it. You had a Biden Justice Department attorney leave a federal role and go to the Manhattan DA's office. That's really unprecedented. So it has Biden's fingerprints on it. It doesn't suggest, again, that he organized it, but he surely supported it and was the administration was very critical of Alvin Bragg when he dropped the case initially. And then only under pressure did he bring it back to the indictment stage. So, we're seeing a lot of this. The same thing with the Georgia case, the investigator who's had a relationship with the prosecutor that was exposed in the last few months. He was spending considerable hours in the White House, and that's in the White House log. That's not disputable. So, yeah, I think in many ways, President Trump has a point that Biden has supported this. He's made some off-color references to the trial, and I think it would be hard to disassociate Biden and his administration with this indictment as well as the other ones. So the voters are probably going to see through this, Jeremy. So far, even during the trial, Trump's numbers stayed steady or even improved. And I'm not sure that this verdict will really affect him.
Let's look at some of the reactions to the verdict online. Donald Trump Jr. posted on X, the Democrats have succeeded in their years-long attempt to turn America into a third world expletive. November the 5th is our last chance to save it. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has showed her support for Trump in a post on X. The American people see through the Democrat games. They know it's a sham verdict. We stand with Trump. Podcaster Tim Pool simply tweeted war. Okay. This is now Darth Powell. It's time for civil war. That's kind of a guy who's obviously not likely to engage in one. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene weighed in. I've been saying from the beginning we will vote for President Donald Trump even if he's in jail. A wrongful conviction will bring a landslide for Trump and prove to America Democrats are the party of corruption, communism and tyrants. Go ahead, pull the curtain back. Ava, what do you think is like I know we've got two people in the studio who disagree with you, who think he may win as a result of this. What do you think of those tweets?
Well, those tweets actually make Donald Trump look all right. They actually make him look sensible. There seems to be this sort of, all the people around him are totally nuts. And you wonder if there should be some sort of legislation against incitement, because those tweets are just designed to rile people up, calling for a civil war. I think this is really dangerous. You could really wind someone up and something really dangerous can happen. Far-right terrorism is real.
Greg, I thought once Trump incited that insurrection, which ended up with people's lives in danger on Capitol Hill, he was done for. He was toast.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an insurrection, but surely it was disgraceful behavior that day. And I thought that was the end of President Trump as well. And it's amazing how he's come back from that. But remember, his real comeback started with these indictments. He was virtually tied with Ron DeSantis in the nomination process in March of 2023. I was supporting DeSantis, so I know the details pretty well. And when the Alvin Bragg indictment hit, Trump went up 15. Most of that came from DeSantis, 30-point swing, and he never looked back. So, these indictments have helped Trump. I don't like these comments coming from sort of that fringe wing of the Republican Party, the Marjorie Taylor Greene and her lot. I don't think that's constructive. I don't think it's helpful. But I think generally speaking, without even looking at the crazy tweets, people are seeing this trial as a real, really an appallingly politicized prosecution in every respect. And I think that's why I agree in many ways with your guest that he might very well win this because of these indictments and this verdict, as opposed to in spite of.
That was what I was going to ask. Do you think that the American public who support him, do you think that they see him as guilty, but they just don't care because, you know, it's an accounting practice that he's been found guilty on, or mispractice? Or do you think they buy into the idea that it's a sham and he's not guilty?
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter. I don't think anybody thinks, you know, that this is going to change anyone's mind. Look, the supporters in the Republican Party are behind him. It's more the independents and the undecideds that I'm thinking about. And I think in this case, they will see right through this case. And that's, again, why his numbers have done pretty well through the trial. So it's not that we need the base. And those tweets are designed to gin up the base. I don't think they're constructive at all. But I think that people will see this as the weaponization of the justice system. It's why his numbers, you know, shot up in March and April of 23 with this indictment. And even if you look back at August of 22, when they raided Mar-a-Lago, he was only up 9 points over DeSantis. They raided Mar-a-Lago. A week later, same poll had him up 39 points. So this is backfiring on the Democrats. 6 months ago, I thought this might hurt him in the general, but I'm not so sure of that anymore, Jeremy.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us from your beautiful holiday location in Sorrento. I love
Good
it.
to be here.
Take care, Greg. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Take
Great to
care.
be here.
After the break, we're taking your calls on this. We must get through your calls and hear what. Here we go. Two White Houses here. Trump wins, Trump loses as a result of the last 24 hours. Love to know what you think. Where do we put our Trump badge there? So, White House up. That's if Trump gets in. Down, black and white, if he doesn't get in. What do you think's going to happen? Shelley in Newcastle upon Tyne. As a result of his conviction, will he win or will he lose?
Well, I've got a few points. I think he'll win on this. I'm no lover of Donald Trump, but I just want to say that they spent more time talking about his sex life. New York is a massive Democratic state. The judge gave money to the Democrats. And the prosecutor was elected by saying he's getting Trump. And I've just watched another guy who was a Democrat saying this is political, this is a Democrat, and saying Clinton and Obama were fined for using campaign money, and they were just fined.
Interesting. All right, that's fine. I've got it. You think he's been stitched up? I've got it. Mary in Norfolk, is he going to win or is he going to lose as a result of today?
I think we're all running a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Donald Trump doesn't have the Republican nomination. That doesn't actually happen until July.
No, he does. There's no other candidates, Mary. There's no one else.
No, but the grey heads in the Republican Party will be thinking very.
Okay, so you think he's not going to be in the White House?
I think he's not going to be in the White House.
Thank you very much indeed. Natalie in Buckinghamshire, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, win or lose, November. Is he president or not?
Well, according to my American friends, he's going to win for sympathy.
For sympathy?
Mm-hmm.
Because you
They're
think
going to
people...
vote for him because they feel sorry for him.
They think he's been stitched up?
Yeah, they said to me last night they would not normally vote for Trump, but because they feel sorry for him, they're going to vote for him.
This is so interesting. Thank you so much. Linnaire's in Fife. Where are we, top or bottom here, Linnaire?
We are a no. He will not be.
He will not be?
No.
I'm going to take our panellists. Go on, yeah.
No, I've got a question. Sorry. Ohio, Kentucky, Florida, Texas, Montana, Nebraska, Illinois, Minnesota, Louisiana, Iowa, and Virginia do not allow a convicted felon from holding public office. How does he get around that?
Because he's not holding public office in those states. He's going to hold it in the White House, and that is not in any of those states, is the answer.
Yes, but it's still going for public office, surely.
Yeah. They've tried it in Colorado, haven't they, to ban him from being on the ballot paper, and the case failed. But good point. Christo, remind us, you think he's going to win?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be the best thing that has happened to him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because actually what's so interesting is when you said it, you surprised me, and now callers are saying it too. You're obviously a thought leader. Ava.
I agree, but I think he'll lose. No, but I think he'll lose. I think it'll incentivize Democrats to get out and vote. There's gonna be surely some quiet people who think we don't want to go through that again. But mate, I don't see any evidence of them. Maybe there's no quiet people in the States. Miles in Lincolnshire. Miles, is he going to win?
Jim.
Hello, is he going to win?
I think the world's gone mad. I actually think the world's gone mad.
Well, it went mad a while ago, to be fair.
Win?
Yeah. Go on, you think he's going to win?
No.
What? Because he is a convicted criminal now, right? And people may be sensitive about that.
I think that the church-going people in America won't vote for him.
They won't vote for him.
No.
So that's my little thought about the silent 25% who are just thinking they're not saying it, but they don't want to go through this again. I do think they're there. And last time they were more inclined towards him. Okay, well, it's 4-3 at the moment. Thank you, Miles. We're cracking through our calls. Carl in Leicestershire, is he going to win?
Absolutely. My family live in Utah, in Salt Lake City, and I disagree with the previous caller. Mormons will vote for him every time.
Well, Utah's always Republican, though, isn't it? It's not going to go Democrat, is it? So that's not. It seems to be 5 or 6 states they're looking at where it's all going to be decided.
He's a character. He's a great character.
Well,
he's like Thatcher was.
I wonder whether, Ava, this is what we're missing, that people in America want a show.
Yeah, they do, and that's what we imported here, didn't we, with Boris Johnson? And he did give us a show.
You think Boris is similar to Trump, Cristo?
I do think Boris is similar to Trump in as much as that he's Teflon and, even trying to single-handedly repopulate the world, people still voted for Boris Johnson, so...
Yeah. Carl, thank you. Kelly in Berkshire. Where are we, Kelly? Are we winning or losing? Breathe. Kelly. Watch your TV.
Hello?
Yes!
Oh, hello. I actually think that he won't be given the chance to win because I think he's too genuine. I think there is a lot of corruption. And the fact that people don't want to actually acknowledge the fact that there must be corruption in an organisation, in a massive sort of organisation that large. Of course there's corruption in the background. And I think the fact that there are people that actually don't admit that corruption goes on shows how corrupt they actually must be because...
Yeah, but is he not responsible for some of it himself?
Well, surely there's a lot of people in positions that high up that do things wrong. I think the fact that Trump actually has it out in the open isn't any different to what other people probably do, to be honest with you. And there's never been anything like absolutely crazy that has come out about Trump, number one. Number two, I like Trump. I think he's brilliant. I think the fact that they would rather have someone like Biden, who can barely string a sentence together.
Cristo, this is the problem, is it? Biden, go on.
No, I'm just wondering, but Kelly, do you think that he is guilty? Because I think he clearly paid Stormy Daniels.
Well, to be honest with you, he's got a lot of money, so even if he did pay her, and we're talking about someone that was a porn star here, and I'm not being silly, but at least we know he's not like someone like bloody Prince Andrew, who's got very different sort of appetite.
Prince Andrew has never been, convicted of any kind of impropriety, whereas obviously Donald Trump has now.
Well, there you go.
But hang on, Kelly,
in terms of the corruption.
So is your point though that he's guilty, but you just don't really care because at least it shows that he's real?
What is he actually guilty of? There has
you think
been
it's a bit technical? Yeah.
Right.
Kelly, thank you.
He hasn't done anything wrong. He's a man. He's a man that's in power. This was somebody that went there. She was happy to go there. At least this is what I'm saying. Someone like Prince Andrew doesn't get done for it, but then someone like him, he's got all these people saying he shouldn't be doing this. There's no way they're going to let him.
Yeah, I mean, Prince Andrew, to be fair, if he ran for election, would not get elected as a parish councillor. So but the difference is Trump is running. Thank you, Kelly. Sympathetic to Trump. Barry in London. Hi, Barry. Is he going to win?
Well, I'm in despair listening to some of these previous callers calling him a great character and saying he's a marvellous man. He's a mega fraud. He lost an election 4 years ago, and he's such a crybaby, you can't accept it.
Is he going to win?
74 million Americans actually believe this man won the election. And 60 court cases that his and his acolytes, like the deluded Giuliani, took to court, were kicked out of every court. Biden won the election. Trump lost. Why can you vote for a crybaby?
Yeah, is he going to win? I know you don't like him.
No, I don't believe he will win. I
still
have a residual faith in the ultimate intelligence of the American voter, and they'll see him for what he is.
Thanks, Barry. I'm going to crack on because I want to get 3 more calls in. Gilmer in Dorset, is he going to win or not?
No, he's not going to win.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth in Surrey, is he going to win or not?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Virginia in Somerset, is he going to win or not?
Yes, he'll win because Biden's no opposition to him.
Oh, thank you. Now, you can help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put you both in. It looks like you've got the flow of opinion here, Ava.
Yeah. Well, I think all the callers are right because we actually just don't know.
Well, we don't know, but we can predict. Someone's going to be right. Thanks for your calls on this. Just briefly before we move on, I'll mention Channel 5's exclusive documentary about Stormy Daniels, which you can watch on My5. I watched it last night. You do feel very sorry for her because she's been swept into something so big. She's been threatened by people. Even her horse has been shot at, apparently. So it's a hard watch, and you feel for her.